Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Texas Blockcast. I'm here with Ed Curtis, the founder and CEO of Why Texas. The TBC partnered with Why Texas last year when they hosted a large event at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Arlington. I keep wanting to call it Texas Stadium, Ed, but it's not called that anymore.
We have to call it AT&T Stadium.
We have to call it AT&T Stadium. But
Yes.
why Texas is all about bringing businesses to Texas, and that jives well with our mission at the TBC. So Ed and I thought we'd just jump on and talk about a variety of different things, including some business climate stuff, the next year's Why Texas Summit. Ed, why don't you just describe a little bit about your journey to how you got to where you are leading this initiative?
Well, I moved to Texas in 1993, a long time ago from the East Coast. I was actually a young kid at the time, had just graduated college. And at the time, so Dallas and Atlanta were two of the big and up and coming cities. And as a New York City kid, I picked Dallas of the two. I don't know how I came up with the decision. And made the journey down here, spent a couple of weeks and called home. And I said, I'm not coming back. I'm staying here. And I've been here for 30 years. Spent my career in commercial banking. And then about 10 years ago, I got very interested in economic development and why companies were coming here. I knew why I came here and formed Why Texas and been doing it ever since.
Awesome. And how did this partnership with the Cowboys come about? I wasn't familiar with that story.
You know, it just happened so quickly. We would host an annual event every year for the last 10 years. It was called the Relo Awards, and we would give out awards to companies that have relocated to Texas and have done great things since they got here. And COVID hit, and we had 2 years to figure out what we were going to do next. And we were sitting in a round table, and we said, let's just go big. Let's just go big. Let's just pick one big venue where everyone all over the world knows where it is and who it is. And we stumbled upon AT&T Stadium, and our conversations were actually with AT&T Stadium. And then one of the Dallas Cowboys had called and said, hey, I heard about this event. We want to partner with you guys and figure out how we can get our brand involved. And we ended up signing a 2-year contract to host an event at AT&T Stadium. And last year was our first year, and this would be year number 2.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And if you think about it, I mean, the Cowboys are a global brand, and they want to get in front of everybody that's moving into this state to become a fan, come to a game, purchase a sponsorship. So it's a great partnership for us.
Yeah, I can see how that could be mutually beneficial for them too. So let's talk about Why Texas. So I would imagine that you get a lot of questions from companies. So this podcast is listened to and watched by people all over the country, predominantly in Texas, but all over the country. And we have some digital asset companies that are relocating here for a variety of different reasons, but primarily regulatory. Texas is a good state to do business in, especially in like the emerging technology world and the digital asset world. So tell us, what is the number one, number two, top couple of reasons why a company decides to move to Texas, whether that's, like a McKesson or a SpaceX. No, it wasn't SpaceX, it was Tesla that moved their big factory here. Kind of give some of those insights.
I mean, it all boils down to jobs and workforce. That's number one by far.
Yeah.
You throw all the extras on, obviously, our regulatory environment, tax environment, centrally located within the United States, our access to ports, our energy, of course, for you, our low energy prices and regulation are way up there. But right now, the talk of the town is workforce and jobs. And for individuals like yourself or me or somebody that's moving here with a company, they realize I might not be working for McKesson or Tesla forever. So if I'm going to move my whole family there and for some reason my job doesn't work out, can I get another job? So it's all about jobs and workforce. And we're doing an unbelievable job. We've had 16 months of employment growth, and it's not slowing down.
Yeah, so let me or take those two things individually that you just said, jobs and workforce, because people might think of them as the same. One of them, you're saying we have an incredibly low unemployment rate. So if you lose your job with a company that relocates, you're going to find another job quickly. And the other one, you're saying workforce, and that's our universities. That's Texas State Technical College, the kind of, I won't call them. Yeah, we'll say the community college network here is very strong, with strong workforce development. So what is the first thing? I mean, obviously talking to a tech company, that you're talking about Austin and University of Texas. If you're talking to engineering, it's A&M and UT Dallas. What are the things that roll off the tip of your tongue when you're talking to a company about our workforce development in particular, whether that's universities or community colleges?
It's across the board, but I would say reskilling and upskilling. I mean, if you look at the energy sector, how many people now are transitioning in and out of the energy sector into technology jobs? They might even be getting into your industry, and they never thought they would, because they thought they'd be, an energy or petrochemical engineer. So there are a lot of transferable skills, I think, that we're finding within industries that really put Texas in a good position. I mean, we have 30 million people that live here. Our unemployment rate is still very low. Like you said, everyone's working. Our university system, our tier 1 and tier universities, the best in the country by far. Our community college districts are I think, doing an unbelievable job of trying to get that transitioning student out of high school. We need to do a better job in the high schools, just because we have so much rural parts of Texas that they're just a little disconnected to some of the career opportunities. But I think you put all of those things together, and it's a recipe that companies look at. They do their formula, and they say, yeah, this is going to work, because we could train them if they don't have the skills that we need, and they're right here. And a lot of states can't say that.
Right. Yeah, and it seems like with the diversity of companies here, 30 years ago, Texas was the energy capital of the world, as it still is today, but that's where a lot of the jobs were too. And now we've got this mini Silicon Valley here in Austin, not so many anymore, with the Silicon Valley kind of deteriorating on the West Coast. We've got real estate and banking hubs in the Dallas-Fort Worth region. We've got energy and medical and just incredible, logistics companies out of Houston. San Antonio, I believe, is the city with the largest population of Department of Defense personnel in the country, if I'm not mistaken, based upon what they have down there. And a lot of it is medical, if I'm not mistaken. Air Force, Army, they train all of their medical folks there. So it's highly technical. It's highly technical skills. Okay, let's dig into the universities a little bit more, because I got to brag on University of Texas at Dallas a little bit. They're one of the fast rising institutions nationally, and now in the top 3 tier 1 institutions in Texas, with UT and A&M, obviously. What do you hear about universities in addition to those 3, right? We've got UT, A&M, and UT Dallas. Are there other universities that have come on your radar that just fantastic? They're doing fantastic things. Maybe a private university or another public one.
Well, I would say that definitely the technical college system. The technical college in San Marcos is doing an unbelievable job of transitioning a lot of these students out of high school into technical jobs that will require a 4-year degree, but they could actually obtain skills and work while they're going to college, rather than waiting for 4 years to get out. I would still put our community college system, the Alamo College system, now the Dallas, I know it was Dallas Community College System, which is called Dallas College. What they're doing for certifications and really working closely with industry, I think is another secret sauce to what's happening in Texas. Yeah. And then, of course, I believe we now lead in tier 2 universities. I think we have 11 tier 2 universities, which we cannot discount either. Right. Which, if you add the tier 1 and tier 2, we have over 21 tier 1 and tier universities. So obviously UT Arlington and the other divisions of the UT system. So it's really a mix. I'm trying to think of any other schools, and I'm probably missing a lot of them here other than UT and A&M system. But I think the technical colleges and the community college system, they're really, I mean, they're becoming universities almost in themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. We had the chancellor of Dallas Colleges, which is 8 different campuses, I think 120,000 students, so a really big community college group of community colleges. His name's Justin Lawn, and he came and spoke at the summit, at the Texas Blockchain Summit this past year in Austin, which reminds me we have another summit, the Why Texas Summit, coming up this early fall. Is it September again this year or October?
October 6th.
October 6th.
Yeah.
So
Friday before Texas OU weekend.
Oh, perfect. So a lot of people are going to be up in the area anyways.
Yes.
So describe for someone who may be unfamiliar with what this conference is about, what would they expect if they came this year?
Well, the theme of the event is to build a stronger, more connected Texas. And you can really put a play on the word more connected Texas in many different ways. Obviously, more connected individuals, a lot of new people moving into the state that have not met people yet. A lot of connectivity with our regions. I think Texas needs to do a better job of having San Antonio and Austin and Houston and Dallas working together in cross-industry type networking. You look at the energy sector and the space sector and the biotechnology sector. There's so much cross connectivity that needs to occur with those sectors that hasn't happened in the past. They typically operated in silos. Yeah. This event is to bring these communities together to build a stronger Texas. But by doing that, we're having them collaborate. We're having them talk about high level issues that are impacting the entire state of Texas. And the collective efforts of these people getting together and meeting that wouldn't normally have met before at an event like this, we feel is going to not only strengthen their companies and their industry, but the state in general. And blockchain technology is going to be a big part of the event. We're excited to have you guys there with Texas State University. We're going to have a lot of students and schools, a lot of workforce solutions boards who act as the liaison between the employers and the students and the schools to really help fill those jobs of the future that maybe are a little bit lacking right now. So a very comprehensive event that's going to have a lot of information that if you're doing business in Texas, you're going to want to be a part of.
I love it. I think when it draws closer, I'm sure we'll be actively promoting it alongside you guys. And you mentioned a couple things. So just to highlight for your situational awareness, and for our audience, some of the schools that are developing either workforce training or curriculum in the realm of Bitcoin mining and digital assets more broadly. Texas State Technical College has a great Bitcoin mining program that they're on the cusp of rolling out, I think any day now. It'll be a multi-week certificate program, and they've been working very closely with some of the large facilities in Texas, like Rhodium's Temple facility and Riot's Rockdale facility. Both of those are in Central Texas, as you know. We've got Texas A&M now offering a Bitcoin class in their curriculum in the business school. Like, that is all they talk about, and that's from a business and technical perspective. You've got TCU hosting events and classes. I spoke at a TCU MBA class recently on this topic. Of course, SMU is very strong. Just to challenge any of our listeners who are Baylor alum, Baylor and Rice are kind of silent on the digital asset industry, and so let's get them, going. I mean, they're extremely adept, I guess, as just liberal arts colleges, nationally ranked universities, but maybe they've been a little bit of a laggard from what we can see in the sort of the emerging tech, digital asset space.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, U of H as well.
Yeah. I mean, we've done some stuff at U of H. I forgot. We actually have done some stuff.
I know. I forgot about that earlier too.
Yeah.
And then
that's the risk that we take, that when we start listing out universities, we forget some of the ones. Lamar University, I know they're doing good stuff too. Lots of engineers at Lamar University.
Yeah. And, down in the Rio Grande Valley too, the UT campus down there, they're doing
Yeah.
a ton of things as well. But yeah, and the UT has a big entrepreneurial program with the Rice Alliance. So
Yeah.
maybe some interconnectivity there with your industry. So yeah, we need to get them to the table.
Here's another thought. This is going back macro again. You know, Andrew Yang has this book about sort of entrepreneurship is really a job that is going to be more necessary in the future with AI and robotics and sort of technological innovation. You know, it's shrinking the workforce in certain areas and requiring a lot more skills in the entrepreneurship space. So there'll be far more entrepreneurs in 10 years than there were 10 years ago. Now, maybe if we look back in history, a couple hundred years, almost everybody was an entrepreneur, right? But in the 20th century, we had this massive, you know, push towards corporatism and large companies with massive numbers of employees. And that's just not sustainable for, I think, the future workforce. These companies are going to need to trim a little bit, and it'll force more people into entrepreneurship. I have a theory that Texans are going to be better at entrepreneurship because there's just an ethos here of a willingness to be independent thinkers, be out there kind of taking risks. And those are two important components to entrepreneurism. I'd be curious of your thoughts on that theory.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And you know, you look at what's happened with Amazon and Google and some of these large employers in Austin that are laying off thousands of people. That's never happened in Austin, and we were never that big. We never had one company lay off thousands of people, which really can affect the economy in a city. And I think the entrepreneurs, I think a lot of people that I know that were working for these companies that always had an idea that they wanted to go out on their own, when they see that mass layoff happening, it sets a switch and it says, look, I've got to protect myself. I have a lot of knowledge that I could turn into an entrepreneurial program. I want to, I don't want to rely on that big employer. And I think this next generation does not. They don't trust the employers and they don't want to rely on them because they know that they could be out of a job in an instant. And I use Austin as an example because it's always been an entrepreneurial town and it's never been reliant upon, the technology industry, obviously. But no, I think Texas, with our independent thinking and our diverse set of industries, like we had talked about a little bit earlier, with whether it's national security and defense or biotechnology or space technology, so many opportunities for people to start new concepts that are needed. I mean, NASA needs entrepreneurs. The Army Futures Command needs entrepreneurs. It's really more of a need now than it has been before.
Yeah, I don't know if I had ever told you this, Ed, but I am an Army Reserve officer, and I'm an innovation officer for the 75th Innovation Command that supports Army Futures Command. So it's funny that you brought that up. We are trying to catch up to the Air Force. I think that's my personal opinion, not with my Army hat on, of course. But the Air Force has done such a good job connecting with the startup ecosystem and technology entrepreneurs, and the Army needs to do that too, and we are doing it. It's just we're a little bit behind where the Air Force has been the last couple of years. So it's exciting to see that that's happening in Austin, Texas, with Army Futures Command moving there. Or I guess standing up there. It wasn't anywhere before. It established itself there. So,
and with the modernization of the U.S. Army now, with the Futures Command, obviously more technology and more technical skills than before.
Absolutely. Well, Ed, tell us where people can go to find out more about the Why Texas Summit and about Why Texas, and how do we kind of galvanize the community to support this effort?
Yeah, and you can go to our website, ytexas.com. It's the letter Y, texas.com. We're also partnering with a lot of trade associations like yourself that are going to be a part of the event, where people can buy corporate passes to the event. The attendance at the event is going to be more of a community-based approach. So rather than selling individual tickets, a company can buy a corporate pass for 10 people, and they can bring their CFO, their CIO, their CMO, because we'll be having a lot of students and HR-related issues related to workforce and things like that at the event. And yeah, we're looking for 3,000 attendees at the event this year to talk about the future of our state and high-growth industries that are driving our GDP.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to being there and supporting, and I appreciate you coming on the show to talk a little bit more about why Texas.
Thanks for having me, Lee.
Did you like that? You want to see more? Click here to subscribe, click here for more content, and we'll see you next time.